Good morning, sir and miss. We are Group 48 for OODJ, and today we'll be presenting on our Java project management system. So before we start, I would like to present about our workload matrix. My name is Howard Tan Hao Kiat, TP067417, the group leader for the project. Lim Jiashen, TP067045. Aaron Che Wei Jun, TP066934, are my members for the team. So here is the workload matrix. As you can see here, all of the parts has been equally distributed. And that's it for the workload matrix, I would say. And then we'll move on to our introduction. So we are making a new project management system to help effectively manage the projects and students that are in Academic Guidance Hub, as mentioned here. So what are some of the systems and functions that users can do? So project managers are able to allot students individually or by their groups according to their intakes. Project managers can create various types of projects and assign lecturers as supervisors and second markers as well. Now, for the lecturers can use the system to help manage their supervisees, but also request presentation dates and show supervisor and second markers according to their confirmed dates here. So to our next user, we will have the admin, which helps to create all of the user profiles, which includes the lecturer profile, the project manager roles, and student profiles. So our aim for the system is to implement OOP concepts such as encapsulation, inheritance, polymorphism, and abstractions to help design and implement it to our new project management system. That's it for my part, and then we'll move on to the next person.
Okay, so now I will talk about the use case diagram and for our project management system. So there are 4 roles, admin, project manager, student, and lecturer. So admin can register student and register lecturer, amend user details, allot project manager role, edit, remove project manager role. So for the project manager, can allot students to assessment type, include the view report status, and assign supervisor and second markers, create project. And for the lecturer part, can manage report that include add feedback, assign grades, modify marking status, edit, delete report, download, and view report. And as well as view assign supervisor, include the view second marker availability, view presentation request, include the confirm presentation date and slot, and as well as the manage presentation request and view supervisor list. So for the student, he can submit report details, review report status, request presentation, remove, rename, and submitted report. And that's the use case diagram. I will pass it to class diagram.
Okay, so right now I will talking about the class diagram. So this is our structure of the system, and it will start from the user, and it will inheritance by the login part, which we will be using the email, password, and the role based on their own role to log into their own page. So if it's project manager, they will have assign marker function, assign assessment, create project, and also view the report status. So if it's admin, they can register a new student, register a new lecturer, and also remove the user when they need to. And it also amend the user details, which like update or edit. And for the lecturer part, it can manage the presentation, like accept the presentation from the students or can decline. And the report for the report manager, it will display all the reports about the students, and it can also view all the supervisees for the when there is assigned as supervisor. Then for the view marker acceptance, they can view their own marking schedule, like when they're assigned as a first marker or second marker. Then for student, they can do their report submission, and also request their presentation, and also check their result. And this our class diagram, and I will pass it to the next presenter.
So now we will demo our system, and starting from the login page. And this is our home page. You can select the designation, the role that you want to select, and to the admin, that you want to select admin. And it goes to login page and log in with the credentials that from the admin text file. And show password. And now successful log into the admin panel. This is our admin panel. And you can view the profile by clicking the view profile button. And then we'll display the profile informations. And then goes to the dashboard. And you can register lecturer by clicking the register lecturer button. And then we'll simply enter the email address, password, username, contact number, and its designation to register. And our system will assume that the email address cannot have the same email address and username. And then if it's have the same, it will register unsuccessful. And then clicking sign up to register. And then it will register successful and save the data to lecturer text file. And then Brian, yeah, is saved to the text file. And now we'll show clicking the dashboard and we'll show the remove lecturer. Simply just click a row that you want to remove and then click the remove button. And it will remove from the table and save to the text file. And it's removed from the text file. And now we'll go to manage the lecturer by clicking the button. And then you can just simply select a row that you want to manage. And it will display to the corresponding text field. And then you can edit anything that you want to edit from the text field that you want to change. And then simply click edit button. It will update to the table and save to the text file, lecturer text file. And you managed successfully. And now we'll go to the allot project manager. And it's the same function. Simply just select a row that you want to assign the project manager role and simply click assign. And it will save to the text file that the lecturer text file and update to the table. And as well as remove the project manager role by just simply click a row that you want to remove and then click the remove button and it will remove the project manager role from the table and save it to the text file. And yeah, so for the student registration function, it's also same with the student registration function. Just simply enter all the credentials that you want to register the student, the information, the contact number, username, password, and the course that you want to assign of engineering and the intake. And then sign up. We'll save to the student text file. And yeah, save the text file successfully. And the TP number will also auto-generated to the text file. And then now we'll go to the remove student function. It's also similar to the lecturer function. Just simply select a row and then delete it by clicking the remove button, and we'll save to the data and table and the text file, student text file. And then last but not least, the manage student. Select a row that you want to manage and will display on the text field. And then simply change the credential that you want to manage. And then we'll save it to the table and the student text file. And also can view the lecturer information by clicking the side panel, and student information. And then you can log out by simply click the log out button to the homepage. Yeah, that's all for me. I will pass it to the next person.
Okay, so right now I will present about our project manager part. So if a lecturer is assigned as a project manager, they can also do their role selection with lecturer. So after clicking the lecturer button, and they can use their same account ID to log in. Okay, so this is the project manager dashboard, but it's basically the same with lecturer dashboard. But for project manager, they will have 3 more functions, which is allot student, assign marker, and also view report. So if the project manager want to assign a marker or create a new project, they can click with the assign marker function first. Okay, so from here, the table shows the project that is already created, which is already assigned with the supervisor first marker and second marker. If a project manager want to create a new project, they can click on the new project button. Okay, and from here they can enter their details and select the project type, for example, yeah, and choose the supervisor they want to assign. And the project start date and the end date. So after filling all the data, all the details, they can click the create button, and a new project will be successfully created, and it will jump to this assign assessment page, which also meaning to assign the which intake and the cost for students to this new project. So let's say just now we create a new project, we just click on the table. Okay, and we can select their intake. We have to select their intake first. Like for 2024, the course will have software engineering and AI. So based on their intake, based on their intake selection, they can know which course have like followed by the intake code 6/2024. So if we select the course software engineering and we click assign, okay, then it will successfully assign, and we can view from the text file. Yeah, so for a text file, you can see that the student Yijun and Karen, which is from the same intake and the same course, has successfully assigned to this new project, and all their details will be filled in on this text file here. Okay, then back to the so going back to the assign marker function. Okay, if they want to change their project name, assign a new supervisor or first marker, they can click and edit. Yeah, edit in here. They can change if their schedule is not full, and clicking the update button. Okay, it will successfully change. And also if the text file will also be changed. Yeah, from the text file, it will change the data that you have up there. So if they want to delete the row, they can also click any of the table here and just clicking delete. It will delete the whole thing for the project. Yeah, and then it successfully delete. Then after that, last one is the view report function. Yeah. Okay, so for this view report, the project manager is able to view all the project name and also the student grades and also their marking status. So from here, if there is too many data, we can just use the search function to search based on and they will show only one row, and this the view report function. And I think this all from the project manager part, and I will pass it to next person.
Hello, so I'm Howard. I'll be presenting on the lecturer and student roles for the project management system. First, we'll go and click on the student. So I'll be using one of the credentials in the student text file. So we'll be logging as Yijun. Same as the login features for other roles, they're able to show their password and login. So currently, the upcoming submissions are able to display some of the upcoming submissions for the students. That's it for that part. And first, we'll move on to the functions. So the students are able to request presentation. So for example, Yijun, he can select, I'll select Jason Lin. Topic, we'll go with OODJ. And the appointment, we can go for the 8th. And I want to go and do OOP concepts, So let's try and we send a request. Oh, it looks like the start time should not end before the end time. So now they have to reselect it. So let's send a request now. And now the presentation request is sent successfully. So we'll look at the request presentation text file. So as shown here, the request has been successfully made. Now, however, if they try to make the same request, they're unable to, and they have shown all of the requests that has been made by each of the students for the specific supervisor. Now, if I try to book another one between a different supervisor and a different topic, so let's go with PFDA, and we go for PFDA concepts probably. So they're able to book. And that's it for the presentation request. And then we'll move on to our report submission. So as shown here, Eden has been assigned an internship report as their assessment, one of their assessment types. So we'll click on internship report right now. It'll display the project name and the project ID of the current assessment type, as well as other details like its intake and course. So let's upload a file. Let's say it tries to submit a doc file. It's not allowed to, so you have to select a PDF file before you submit. So it's auto-selected here, the PDF file, and they're only allowed to submit a PDF file. So let's say we'll be submitting the OODJ assignments as an example. So the students are able to submit their PDF file, and then it will save to the database. So now, where is it saved? Once that, we'll save all the changes. And as we can see here, the status has turned into submitted. That means they have submitted the report. And the report has been submitted here, and it's ready for marking. It displays the file name that they have submitted, and the time and date they have submitted for their specific file. And the file here is just to prove that the submission has successfully submitted. Yeah. So if the student wants to print the PDF, they can print the PDF and rename it to another file. So I would like to call it the OODJ file, just call it that name. And they are able to view in their local directory as shown here. So that's about it for the download part. The rename and download are a similar function to the print PDF. Also, students are able to view the entire PDF documents by selecting the pages and view each individual contents. And last but not least, the students are able to check their own results. So some of the grades and reports that have not been graded are displayed here as well. Basically, all of the submissions that the student has made. So the search function, like any other, works as shown here. Now, the students are able to show their grades according to the grades that has been marked and display into a bar chart as shown here. Now they can download a PDF of their results, and they can name results, let's say, Yidun, let's say, any name works, and they could print it, and it will be stored into their local directory, and they can open it. So they can view all the results contents are right here. And that's about it for students. Now, we'll go to the lecturer right now. So we'll be using one of the credentials for the lecturer that has not been assigned as a project manager currently. So let's look at the lecturer file. So we'll be using Brian in this case. So and some of the functions are not shown here for the lecturer as he's not a project manager. So now, as assigned by the project manager, the lecturer can now manage the students. So let's say we accept the presentation request for this one. They're able to view the accepted request in another dialog file, and they could reject it if they think it's not what they want, or just, yeah. So next, the lecturer can look at the supervisee list, all of the supervisee list. They could filter it by intake, assessment type, or individual. So let's first filter by the intake. It will, the assessment type. So let's say John Doe, assessment type internship. We'll only search for internship. However, in this case, there's no example to be shown. But if I click on assessment type, it will show the assessment types. It will filter according to assessment type. So if it's reading from intake, it will not show. Individual, it will not show. Next, we'll talk about the managed report. So we can see all of the reports that has been submitted. So we'll now look at the one that has been submitted recently. Now the lecturer can mark the student and choose according to their grades. So let's say, I think this is an A+ assignment. We'll mark it as an A+ assignment. And then the marking status will be updated into the text file. So let's look at the submitted report text file as shown here. The grade has been updated and the status has been updated. Now we'll move on to the add feedback function. So let's say you did a great job, very well job actually, since you get an A+, very well job. So it'll be updated here and it will be updated in the text file as well. As shown here by very well job. And they could edit the marking status as well. They will change the already marked finish to pending. And if they want to remark again, they can either remark it here to change their grades to A, if let's say they want to do that, or they could manually type it here to a finished status. They can edit the report as however they like. So I think it's a great job instead now. So we'll update and show in the text file, like so. And the lecturer can download the PDF according to the submissions the student have made, according to the file path. And they could delete the report that they deemed not worthy. So they could delete the report. Just like any other, they could also download some of the documents that has not been marked as well. Okay, so last but not least, we'll have the view marker slots function. So let's click on it. Here, Brian Chong, as stated as the lecturer name, can view only the information with his name on it. And that's it for our project management system. And we'll be talking about our best efforts in our code.
Okay, so now I will talk about our admin part, the system code. So for the generate student ID, right, the method of it is create a unique student ID by generating a random 6-digit number using the random class. It ensures that the student numbers falls within the range of 100,000 to 900,000, and then prefix this number with the TP to designate it as a student ID. The resulting string such as TP123456 is returned, providing a simple yet effective way to generate unique identifiers for students. So now I will forward to the lecturer register down there. Okay, so for the lecturer registration, the method handles the registration of a lecturer by retrieving the user enter details, email, password, username, and the contact and designation, and performing several checks. It first ensures no fields is left empty and validates that the contact number is an integer. Then it checks whether the email of username already exists in the lecturer text file. If they are unique, it appends the new registration data to the file and clears the input fields, displaying appropriate message for successful registration or errors and counter the during the process. So now I'll pass it to the next person to.
So for me, I will in the project manager for the assigned assessment, yeah, in line 150 around. Yeah, so this private string find project ID is designed to find and it will return the ID when it is matched to the text file. Then in the assign student to assessment in line 166. So it will make sure that they can select in the combo box. Howard, scroll down a bit. And it will read read the student information in the student text file, and then it will read based on their selected intake and selected course. If it's matched, then scroll down a bit. Scroll. Okay. If it's matched, then it will read the project name and based on the project ID, and it will enter to the new text file. And if the student is not found for the selected intake and course, it will yeah, it will show the message students are not found for the selected intakes and course. Then after reading the text, the intake and course, then it will update all the assignment details about the students, and you update back to this assessment details text file. And then and then it will check if the project ID match the selected project. Then if is, then it will replace all these dash to the students details. It will replace it and update it. And then if there is additional students found, meaning that there is more than one student in the same intake and same course, they will add a new line which using the same project ID and create a new line for a new student ID, email, intake course, intake code. And then scroll down. So if the line is not update or have error on reading it, it will show error reading the text file. And then if there is no assessments found or the slot is already been assigned, it will also show the message. And then after that, all the updated lines will be written back to the file, and it will also sort the updated lines based on the project ID in the ascending errors. And it will also, and if the student is assigned to the assessment or project, it will also change the pending to assign. So if the project ID was not found, it will also show an error messages. And scroll down a bit. And yeah, and lastly, if all the data is correct, it will updated back to the original file and the table, and it will refresh the table, and the table will also can build the correct details. So this is the coding part, and I will pass it to next person.
I'll be showing on the students' best effort first. So we'll move on to our report submission. So we'll go on to the upload. So it's on the line 348. So first, it will let us, this function is to update the PDF file. So first, we are able to select, choose our file here. And then here, it sets that it wants it to be a PDF file. It's a condition. So if it gets the selected file with PDF, then it loads the file and display the PDF on this page on that panel. So yeah, and then it would show a PDF file uploaded successful message. And this code here from 357 to 359, it shows the page number according to the current PDF, like page 1, page 2, page 3, etc. So on line 363 right here, it reads the project name from the text file. And here, it gets the student name from currently our submitted report data shown here. Yeah, the student's name here. And then it will save the PDF to the local database. So it's right here. I forgot to show it, but it's stored under the database file, and it will store specific students. And then according to that, it will write the student name and then the file name and store it in there, like as shown in this format. So it'll write the student name first, then it will put a dash, and then it'll put the file name inside here, according to the TXT file. That's one of my best efforts for uploading the PDF. Then it will write the PDF file name. And then these are the save functions. So it will store it to the local database as mentioned. This will read the file directory. If there's no file directory for the current student, like for example, Yizhen, he already has a database file named with his name, then it will use the name. If it's another student, let's say Jinxin or Darren per se, they will create a separate folder named Darren at this point. And we'll get the selected file, and then it will show the destination where it should be saved. And then it copies the selected file and successfully saved it into the database. That's it for the student's best effort. And that was to upload the file and store it. Now I'll talk about the lecturer best effort, which is the report manager. Now this was to download the PDF. So here we are showing the download submission file from line 348 till 375. So right here, it first checks the row of the table, and it first reads the student name and file name according to the selected row, which are the file name on row 3 and then select the name on row 5 according to the index that is starting from 0. And it checks. If the file name is not empty, then it will construct the file name and then it will read from this file name, the structure, yijun, then with an underscore and then the file name. It will get the file name, it will separate it, it will detect it, and then it will help to download with the file to download function. So we'll find the file to download and display, of course, all of the validations here to show the successfully downloaded, if it is a problem downloading, if the file is not found in the database, if the student is not, or the file name is like not valid, or you did not select a row when you download. So we'll look at the file to download function. So it will download the file instantly once it reads the row index. So that's all from my best efforts. And now we'll move on to our OOP concepts.
Now we will talk about our OOP concept. So for the object and classes, in the presentation class is created to create constructors related to the presentations in the fields like student ID, name, email, and others that are shown in the figure above. This allows the object to be later to assess and modify its behaviors. And for the encapsulation, inside the lecturer dashboard, there are fields that are set to provide, which are the lecturer name is the project manager. The fields are private to hide the fields so that only the lecturer dashboard class can access and modify. This can keep the data from being tampered with by other components of the system. And for like the methods name check if project managers, the methods here reads the lecturer txt file whether they are assigned to as a project manager as well. This will allow functions that are only available to lecturers who are project manager, as well as the who are not project manager are not able to access the functions. And then to the access control lecturer dashboard, the constructor then decides to hide the mentioned panels, report panel, and allot panel and marker panel, based on whether the lecturer is a project manager or not. If the lecturer is not a project manager, the panels are hidden away and appear when the lecturer is a project manager. Now we'll pass it to the next person to explain the inheritance.
Okay, so for the inheritance, for our system, the evaluate report class is a subclass of report, as we shown here. By the public class evaluate report, it will extend the report. So it shows that the evaluate report class can inherit all the properties and methods of the report class. So for the inheritance, it's very important, as where a class or a subclass can inherit all the attributes and methods from another class or superclass to boost more code reusability, and it also help us to save more time and can easily organize our code. So this is the inheritance for our system. And the next one, I will pass it to the next presenter.
So I'll be explaining more polymorphism. So as you can see from the method to string method, which it will override the object of the submission class, which is under the same class. Now this method is to help generate a unique string for the submission object itself, which also enables the submission class to handle to change the behavior of the submission object as a string when it's necessary. And then as shown in part 2, this is also another example for the method overriding. As shown here, this is where like some of the constructors are overridden to allow acceptance of some of the specific parameters as shown here, like the date, time, file name, student name, submission date, and the submitted file. So the class can be modified to change the behavior like I mentioned above. So allowing the custom constructors to go according to various parameters that were set to initialize the constructor. And last but not least, we'll be talking about the method overloading for the polymorphism for the report submission.java. So the safe submission to file method can store all the submission details in the file and encapsulates it as to keep it safe per se. So it shows some polymorphic behavior as it helps to take over the object from the submission class as the initial input. So based like the foundation, and using the object method to get specific submission information from its attribute when it's needed to be accessed. And this could be the file name, date, and time as mentioned here. And also, it reads data from the text file and text fields. The data are well collected and formatted properly according to the method before writing into any files and handling any error exceptions in the process. So moving on, I'll be talking about the abstraction of our OOP. So in this abstraction OOP example, first it shows some features of the user class that were common in like all of the users we have, which are the project managers, the lecturer, and the student. So some of the common attributes are shown here are the ID, name, and email, which will be the constructor that are initialized for the attributes. And some methods like the setters and getters are implemented as well. So the user class, although it's not a main class, but rather it is actually an abstract class for other subclass to access its attributes and inherit like some of the common attributes like I mentioned, like the ID, the name, and their email. So why do we want to use the abstraction? Well, this helps to maintain the code consistency and structure. This helps to maintain the code consistency and structure, and also remove the error of duplicated codes and methods. And I'll pass on to the next person.
Okay, so for the method, the code here shows some usage of the most methods in an event handling method, which is the save all changes action. First, it retrieves the date, the current date and time through the simple date format class, and you set them for their respective fields. And then if you're using calling the isEmpty methods on the respective strings to make sure that all the dates and the time fields are correctly filled. So let's say if one of the fields is empty, if you call the method show error to show an error message. Otherwise, if you continue passing the strings for the date and time into the objects and through the classes with the simple date format and its own method pass. Then next, the date will combine with the time into an object of the type of the date through the class calendar and its method get instant set and also get. So after obtaining a submission date and time, a new submission object will be called for its constructor using the required parameters. So all these methods can help to add a new created submission object to a list of submission. Then as you will call the write modified lines to file methods, which contains the writing modified submission lines to a file, and you also make sure it's handling any exception thrown, which shows respective messages through the show error method. So overall, this code shows that the use of methods and all the methods like static, getter, and setter methods, constructor, and helper methods is very important in the concepts of object-oriented programming, which helps to maintain the maintainability and modularity in the developments of codes. And the methods OOP, and I will pass it to the next person for conclusion.
So we'll be talking about our conclusion right now.
Conclusion.
So in conclusion, this project management system will helps to improve the way a project is managed and how user enrollments are settled and managed by the academic guidance hub. So now there were some limitations that we have faced and challenges we have faced during the development of the program, like the uncertainty of what concepts of OOP should be implemented into the system. And how can we improve the system is maybe we could implement a actual database such as MySQL or MongoDB as our database instead of the text file. That will be one of the improvements. However, the system, although, yeah, as I've mentioned, the limitations are, well, some of the things are not read properly as it's not using a actual database file. And I would recommend that an actual database to be implemented as it could prone to not only used in the local, but it could be deployed and used for other people as well for the entire system. And that sums up our project management system for our OODJ program, object-oriented programming subject of Java.